Hi, good afternoon, everybody. All right, so today we are going to be discussing hardening recommendation for IMAP and DANS. And it's also going to be for the same class, which is Cyber 2220. So, next, what is IMAP? IMAP, by definition, is Internet Message Access Protocol. It is a protocol that is used in retrieving emails on a remote web server for a local client. And the port for the unencrypted IMAP is the 143, while the encrypted IMAP, also known as Internet Message Access Protocol Secure, is 993. IMAP is used on devices like our phones, our tablets, and our laptop, because everything, all those devices are like the go-to device, so you can be able to view your messages while you're on the go. Like, so the email messaging route used by HiMap is the Outlook, the Gmail, the the Yahoo, and the Mac and iPhone mail. So functions of HiMap, it is easier to have it is very with HiMap it is very easy to access messages on email on the go, and it is accessed via internet. The messages are stored on server, and they are retrieved from server without having to download it. That's the difference between HiMap and the other messaging app which is the POP. With the POP3, the message are actually downloaded inside the server. So as you for the POP3, you actually have to download it first in the server before before it can be used. But for the IMAP, it does not need to be downloaded, so it is very instantaneous, and you can be able to get your message without having to wait for a long period of time. And the good thing about it is that you can use many devices simultaneously. And the messages can also be viewed even if you are offline, meaning that if you're not using internet, if you do not have an internet connection, you can also be able to view it offline. Okay, so the difference between HiMap and POP3. So HiMap provide a mechanism for client to have the server for service for messages meeting a variety of criteria. And HiMap provide access to shared and public folder, making it easy for the client to create, rename, and even delete messages. So, because all the folders are created and without having it to be downloaded, it is very easy and impromptu to be able to view, delete, or make addition to any messages you would like to. Then another thing is that the multiple simultaneous clients. So for POP3, the the current connected client has to be the only one connected to the mailbox. So it's only one client to one mailbox. But for HiMap, so multiple clients can actually access the mailbox at the same time. They can make changes at the same time. So as one client is working on the messages, another client can be working on it at the same point in time. Another thing is the connected and disconnect nodes, the connected and disconnect modes. So for POP3, the it is connected to the server until the message are downloaded from the server. So once you have the server it, you can only access downloaded documents. If the document is not downloaded into the server, you will not be able to access it. Then for the IMAP, it stayed connected to the server as the interface is being opened. So it is always connected. to the server. Then one thing I would love to discuss is how to configure IMAP on Ubuntu. So like POP3, IMAP is also configured using the difficult. For the configuration, the first one right here, which is the sudo nano etc dovecourt.config. This is where the protocol are enabled. So right here you enable the, sorry guys, I have a little bit of cold. So you enable the HIMAP, and you also enable the POP3. Then later you go to the 10/SSL conf. This is where you actually create the security SSL, which are the encrypt file that make it IMAP S and POPS. So so it's going to be where, oh, I'm sorry guys. Okay, so I'm very, very sorry guys. Um, Sorry, I do have a little kid, so I'm just trying to get everything ready here. Okay, so you go to the sudo nano etc dovecourt dash conf dot d slash the forward slash 10 dash SSL config. So this is where you had the security encrypted file for both HIMAP and POP3S. So that anything that is only secured mail that you can receive. So you're just configuring it. So all secure mail can be received through it. And you also have to make sure later that you configure the 10-mail-config, which is this is used to set up the location for the mails. Then you also have to make sure that it supports the mbox and the mail directory. Then after that, you're going to test it, and by testing it, you're going to use the telnet localhost IMAP. So this lets you know if the configuration of IMAP is done properly. It also lets you know if the IMAP 3x is already configured and enabled. So another thing you have to do later is you run the mmap to see which of the if the port is actually open. By allowing the port to open, that means that all emails that are coming in are has to be secured. If they are not secured, they won't be coming in. Okay, so the hardening recommendation for Dovecot. Then to harden Dovecot, you have to make sure that the IMAP have access to the system. You have to make sure that the password you created for the security encrypt is very strong, meaning it's something that cannot be accessed by an individual, making it difficult for the attackers to go into it. You also have to make sure you check the status of the dovecot itself every other time so that you can always keep it updated, and you can always upgrade it so if there's any changes that have occurred. You also have to make sure you enable both the security, you enable the SSL for encryption, and you have to enable the protocols too. All right. So the next thing we're going to discuss is the DNS, and we are going to also discuss how it works. So for definition, DNS is called the domain name server. This is the This is the place where information is accessed through online. It helps in translating the domain names to the IP address. So this is how we are able to communicate between human and the computer. So the host as an individual, we type in like maybe www.google.com or www.yahoo.com and things like that. But the is the domain name server that actually creates the IP address. So the server gives the IP address back to the client. So then there are different type of DNS query when that's involved when it comes to loading a web page. So one is the iterative query. With that, the DNS client provide a host name and revolver. The host name and the revolver turns the best answer. The relevant DNS record. The relevant DNS is recorded in cache, and if not, it is recorded to the root server or authoritative nearest zone to the required zone to be run again. So basically, with this server, is saying that if it is relevant, meaning that all the DNS, if it was able to get the right IP address, then everything is going to be recorded in the cache. If it does not find the right IP address, then it automatically goes to the authoritative query or to the root server, which then will run it for it to get the right IP address before it is sent back to the host name. Then the other one is the recursive query. With recursive query, the client provide the host name and DNS resolver provide the right IP address. It responds with either the relevant resource record or an error message. So basically, with this one is either or. I got the answer or I did not get the answer. That's meaning that if the IP address can't be found, you say, I'm sorry, this page is not available, something like that. Then it also start from the resolver and end when it finds the authoritative name. Then it also holds IP address and other information from the request host name. So the last but not the least type of DNS query in- is the non-recursive query. The non is it contain resolver that the with the non-recursive query, the resolver already know the answers to what you're looking for. So it's instantaneous. Then the DNS are already stored in local cache and it already holds the right IP address to the host name. Because with this one, the right IP address are already stored. So you are just retrieving it from the server to be used. Now we are going to discuss how to configure DNS in Windows Server 2019. To install DNS in Windows Server 2019, we have to first of all we have to first of all install the DNS itself in the server management manager. We have to make sure that static IP address is also configured and installed. We also have to install the i.NET Frame 3.5. We have to install the reverse lookup zone, which is what is used to translate IP address to the host name. We have to install the forward lookup zone, which translates IP address, which translates client request to the IP address. We also have to install the a pointer record, which helps to check for accuracy between host name and IP address. Then after installing that, then once the installation is done, then the next thing we'll have to do is to talk about the admin of the IP address. So for the admin of the DNS, so you have to use the IPsec for trusted host name. You have to make sure that you disable the concussion recursion, I mean, so that it cannot be used to track host record or for another server. You have to make sure that the limits, you have to make sure to limit zone transfer. You have to reduce exposure to limit the type of network service for exact port and IP address. So there are a lot of ways in which attackers can actually get into the system. So by following this route, you are able to harden it. So it will be very difficult for an attackers to be able to get in and try to mimic your IP address. So another thing you can do is that you have to use public advertiser to store just only the public IP address and public record, meaning you create another IP address, another secondary server. With that secondary server is where all your public record are stored. With that, by using the secondary server, it keep your private server from being able to be hacked. And with the secondary server, even if it's hacked, it's not going to be impact you a lot because you know the content in it is not something that can damage you or affect you in any point of way. And you also have to make sure that you isolate the DNS functions so that the function are not performed simultaneously. Okay, so basically, DNS, not only do they store information, they're also used to retrieve information. So both of them has to be done separately, meaning that you do not do it together. Because if it's run simultaneously, it makes it easier for hackers to be able to get into the system. But if it's run in separately, meaning one after the other, you're able to keep the DNS server secured. Okay, another thing to do is that you have to disable the DNS cache, which is how you retrieve information and when you install it. So by disabling it, you're not giving it access to keep the port open, meaning that any IP address that are being imported into the system from the into the server will not be able to see your cache, meaning they will not be able to touch anything that you have stored. And you have to also secure the traffic. You have to secure the DNS traffic using the DNS security extension and DNS policy. So it helps with the encryption of the DNS traffic. It provides origin authority and integrity to data. Sorry, I put date. It's supposed to be data. And it also helps against the DNS snooping attack. Then another thing that needs to be enabled is the socket pool because it helps DNS server in using a random source to send DNS query. So what it means is that when you're trying to send DNS query, by making it random, interchanging it, the attackers are not able to guess exactly the type of sources you're using to send for the query. Okay, so now I'm going to discuss how you configure DNS on Ubuntu. So with Ubuntu, you are downloading the Bind 9, and like the one you do on Windows Server, you have to create everything, which is like create the zone lookup file, the reverse zone lookup file, and you have to make sure to check the configuration continuously, and you also have to test it. By testing it, by testing it, you can be able to check if you are able to create a DNS name for yourself for your IP address. Okay. So for the hardening is a little bit. So the hardening is also done like the way you do for the Windows Server. The only thing that you need to do more for Ubuntu is the fact that you have to make sure to hide the bind 9 version that you use so that it cannot be recreated. You have to make sure that the server is always up to date. You have to make sure you restrict the zone transfer. And when it comes to how the how the traffic are allowed by the DNS, you have to make sure you use the secured form of transfer so that because the the secure form of transfer, which is the Cloudflare, the encapsular, or the Akamai. So those are the type of places you store your DNS so that when traffic are coming in, if it's a secured place, it will be difficult for attackers to be able to even get it to begin with. And these are my sources. Thank you.